having this side girl for almost 15 years of our marriage. I've known about her almost since the beginning. I've known that Kevin is a serial cheat.
Sharina Hudson, getting out of my car with my money. Life is not what you think it is behind the scenes. Trust me. Homegirl is miserable. Like, that's what you get.
All right, y'all, buckle up because this one is messy, layered, and dripping in karma. People really thought Wendy Williams was done, finished, written off, quiet forever. But baby, Wendy never left the building. She just let everybody get comfortable. Because while folks were busy clowning her health, gossiping about her conservatorship, and cheering on Kevin Hunter and Sharina Hudson like they won, Wendy was watching, waiting, and according to new whispers making the rounds, the real gag is this. Sharina Hudson may have played Kevin Hunter harder than Kevin ever played Wendy. And when you really break it down, the story hits different.
Don't recommend that you work with your husband because I made him my manager, and then when I decided to divorce him, he had to be fired. In other words, I made him divorced and unemployed all in one day, having this side girl for almost 15 years of our marriage. I've known about her almost since the beginning. I've known that Kevin is a serial cheat. The first time I found out was while I was pregnant with our son on bed rest. During that time, I gave birth to him. He was in the delivery room. You'll see that play out in the movie. He's passing out cigars, and you know, my wife and I, you know, little Kevin, who's not so little anymore, he's 20 years old. I plotted to divorce Kevin, and I sacrificed a lot of myself to come out successful on the other side.
Now let's get into it. For years, Wendy Williams was that girl, loud, unfiltered, messy in the way only she could be, but also honest. She built an empire off telling the truth people were scared to say out loud. Daytime TV belonged to Wendy. Her purple chair was a throne, and millions tuned in daily to hear her spill tea with no filter. But behind the scenes, Wendy's life wasn't nearly as glamorous as it looked on camera. Her marriage to Kevin Hunter was already cracking long before the public ever knew.
You know, less than smart women who moved to the big city with bright lights, you know, and she wanted to be a model. And so you know how the girls with the sparkler champagne bottles at the club, they get people to spend more money, they dress scantily clad and things like.
Wendy held that household together with duct tape and prayer. She was working non-stop, carrying the bills, carrying the brand, carrying the marriage, while Kevin was quietly living a double life. And the saddest part, Wendy knew. She's admitted more than once that she was aware Kevin was cheating. She stayed anyway. Not because she was weak, but because she loved hard. She believed in loyalty. She believed in protecting her family at all costs. And for a long time, she chose silence over scandal. Until the secret baby. That was the moment everything shattered. Finding out your husband didn't just cheat, but had a whole child with another woman is a pain that cuts deep. That betrayal isn't just emotional, it's public humiliation.
Backwoods Barbie. You know, he was tricking up money. She's in the passenger seat of my Rolls Royce Ferrari. And you know, I mean,
Wendy went from America's gossip queen to the headline she never wanted to read. And the woman at the center of it all, Sharina Hudson. At first, people painted Sharina as the villain and Kevin as the mastermind, the homewrecker and the snake. But what nobody expected was that Sharina had her own game going the entire time. See, when Wendy divorced Kevin in 2019, she didn't just walk away from a marriage. She walked away from her manager, her business partner, and the man who had access to every dollar she made. Kevin was fired immediately, but thanks to the divorce settlement, he still walked away with alimony. And baby, that alimony became his lifeline.
So yesterday, Wayne made me go and visit Wendy Williams.
I made you go.
Everybody was in on
You know
it.
what? I sort of did because I kept saying, did you go? Did you go? Did you go?
And I kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off.
Yeah.
So I pull up. First, I pulled up to the wrong building.
It's been a minute.
I know. And I had to walk, but it was okay. And so I get there, I go inside, the door people greet me, and And I said, this might be a shot in the dark, sir, but I'm here to visit Wendy. And he shakes his head, and he goes, you're a couple of months late.
Wow.
She moved. And I said, and he goes, yeah, that's all I can tell you. So, I start prying. I'm like, well, did they sell the unit? Is it on the market? Because this was a fabulous duplex. And the building she was living in, which now I can tell you guys, it was supposed to be a hotel originally. And then COVID hit, and they couldn't, obviously, no one was supposed to be in a hotel, so they sold it. She told me how much she paid for it. I was like, that was such a steal. It was beautiful, 2-floor, 3-bedroom unit. So I thank you, sir. And then I go and I look for the other people that, live in the building,
Right.
work in the building.
Start sleuthing.
Yup. And I got my sleuth on. And they said, well, you know what happened? She was getting better. She was coming around. And then she started getting sick again. And because her family's in Florida,
Right.
and people were coming in her circle that they weren't familiar with, and they didn't know, they couldn't get access to her when they wanted, they moved her down to Florida. So she is allegedly down in Florida with her son, recuperating.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we wish her.
We do wish her well.
Yeah.
And Wendy, if you listening, you won. Diddy go into jail for Easter. It was true. Everything you said. I always believed. I always knew. You won. And Kev can't get your money neither. Wendy, the judge shut him down. You can stop now, Wendy. The gig's up.
While Wendy's show was still running, Kevin was living large, funded by Wendy's hard work. And Sharina, she was right there enjoying the benefits. Businesses were launched, cars were purchased, jewelry lines, clothing brands. None of it stuck. Nothing took off, but the spending never slowed. Kevin co-signed it all, enabled it all, and never once thought to save. Then Wendy's health declined, and everything changed. When Wendy was diagnosed with serious health issues and her show was eventually canceled, the money stopped flowing. That little clause Wendy had in her divorce settlement, the one that said alimony was tied to her employment, yeah, that clause saved her. Kevin went from rich adjacent to broke almost overnight. And that's when the cracks between Kevin and Sharina started to show. Because suddenly, the luxury lifestyle disappeared. Suddenly, bills were due, credit cards were maxed, lawsuits started piling up, and the same man Sharina once clung to no longer had anything to offer. Word on the street is that's when Sharina pulled back, quietly. No dramatic announcement, no Instagram posts, no ride or die energy, just distance, silence, and whispers that she moved back with family and left Kevin to deal with the financial fallout alone. And here's the gag. Kevin tried to take Wendy to court, begging for alimony to restart. He admitted under oath that he had no income, no savings, no backup plan. His entire life depended on Wendy continuing to pay him, even after everything he put her through. The judge wasn't moved. The request was denied, and just like that, Kevin was exposed. Now let's talk about Wendy during all of this, because while Kevin and Sharina were spiraling, Wendy was slowly re-emerging. She wasn't loud about it, she wasn't doing interviews every week, but when she was spotted out in public, looking healthy, smiling, alert, fans felt relief. Wendy was still here, she was still sharp, and she was still watching. Insiders say Wendy wasn't shocked by Sharina pulling away from Kevin. In fact, she expected it. Wendy allegedly told friends years ago that Sharina wasn't in love, she was in position. And once the position collapsed, so did the relationship. That realization hit Kevin hard. Imagine betraying your wife, losing your career, burning bridges, and then realizing the woman you ruined everything for was never really down for you, only the money. That's a different kind of karma. And emotionally, this saga left scars everywhere. Wendy lost trust, she lost years, she lost control over her finances and her freedom for a time. Her son was pulled into public drama he never asked for. Her family was separated from her during critical moments. Fans worried they'd never hear her voice again. Kevin lost his reputation, his security, his lifestyle, and eventually, his illusion. And Sharina, she gained notoriety but lost stability. Lawsuits followed, debts surfaced, and the image of a woman who won was replaced with one trying to survive the consequences of her choices. Now, here's the part that really makes people pause. Wendy never publicly celebrated their downfall. She didn't need to. She let silence speak. She let time do the work, and she focused on surviving. That's power. Because being loud isn't always winning. Sometimes watching your enemies destroy themselves is enough. As Wendy slowly steps back into the spotlight, one thing is clear. Her story isn't over. Whether she returns to TV, launches a podcast, or simply lives peacefully on her own terms, Wendy Williams is reclaiming something far more valuable than fame: her dignity. And the biggest lesson in all of this? Everybody thinks they're playing the game until they realize they were just a pawn too. Sharina thought she secured the bag, Kevin thought he escaped accountability, and Wendy, she lost everything, only to gain clarity. Sometimes the comeback isn't loud, it's just watching the truth finally catch up. And trust me, this saga, it's not finished yet.